So many businesses pull the plug 1 month before Google Ads would have delivered. And not because it wasn't working, but because they were staring at the wrong numbers. You've probably already been through at least one Google Ads agency, maybe 2, maybe 3. And every single time it starts with the same promise. Promising onboarding call, confident projections, then inconsistent results. 1 good month, 2 bad ones. No real explanation. And eventually you're back to square one, wondering if Google Ads actually works, or if you've just been unlucky with who you've trusted with it. Here's what nobody tells you. It wasn't bad luck, it was bad management. The agency was reading the wrong numbers and they didn't know what Google was already trying to tell them. Because Google doesn't send a green light when performance is about to improve. It doesn't email you. You don't get a notification in your dashboard. It sends you 5 signals hidden inside your own account, and almost every advertiser who sees them thinks something is wrong. I've managed over $130 million in Google Ad spend across 14 years. Accounts for companies like Perfect Draft and DirecTV. And these same 5 signals show up every single time before the account is about to blow up. Every single time. The problem isn't Google. The problem isn't your budget. The problem is that nobody managing your account knew what to look for. And once you do, everything changes. You see, the problem is that most advertisers stare at 2 numbers. They stare at what they spent and how many clicks they got. And they treat those 2 things like the verdict on whether their Google campaigns are working or not. But Google doesn't use those numbers to decide if your campaign is ready. Google is watching what your campaigns are learning, and it's telling you right there in your account. But most advertisers miss those signals completely. So every single time an account hits momentum, my accounts, my clients' accounts, businesses spending $1,000 a month or spending $100,000 a month, these 5 signs show up first. But here's what you need to understand. Google Ads rewards consistency and ongoing optimization, not impatience. The campaigns that look like it's doing nothing in week 2 is building something. It compounds slowly, yes, and then it happens all at once. Guys, listen, I know it's hard to understand, but most advertisers pull the plug right before the all at once ever happens. That is what this video is about. So sign 1, it's that your clicks get expensive and quiet, and that is exactly what you want. You see, most people think Google Ads growth should look like this. Hundreds of clicks, low cost per click, busy dashboard, numbers moving. That feels like it's working, something's happening. But here's what it actually looks like in reality. 200 clicks, 0 calls, 180 clicks, 0 calls, 220 clicks, 1 sale. It's chaotic, it's expensive, and it's going nowhere. When Google Ads is really working, it looks completely different. 40 clicks, 2 calls, 50 clicks, 3 calls, 45 clicks, 2 calls. Quiet, consistent, trending upwards. And most people see that and panic because it doesn't feel exciting. The dashboard looks dead compared to before. But here's what they're missing. Google doesn't reward volume. It rewards quality. And guys, I get it. Every instinct you have says more clicks equals more chances. I've been there personally. When Google first launches your campaign, it goes bargain hunting. It finds traffic where it's the cheapest. Searches vaguely related to your product. People browsing at midnight with no intention of buying anything. Clicks cost is low, volume looks impressive, but conversions are almost 0. When the algorithm starts working properly, something shifts. The click volume drops. The cost per click goes up. And most people see that and pull the budget. I had a client, a dental practice. First week, under the right setup, it had 43 clicks. Their previous agency had been getting them 500 clicks a week. They called me convinced that I'd broken something. Week 2, their phone rang 12 times. Real patients, booked appointments. Those 400 clicks from before? People searching how to pull their own tooth, free dental clinics, dental school costs. 400 people who were never going to spend a penny. 43 people who were actively looking for a dentist and had money to spend. You're not paying more per click. You're paying less per customer, and that is the only number that actually matters. So here's what I want you to do. Go to your account right now, look at the last 28 days. Are your clicks dropping but your conversions are holding or climbing, even slightly? If yes, you're already in momentum. You just don't recognize it yet. When your clicks get quieter and more expensive, Google has stopped casting out a wide net and it's started being selective. That's not a problem. That's progress. Sign 2 is that your campaign looks completely broken, and that means it's working. When you launch a new campaign, campaign, you'll see a small label next to it in your account. It says learning, and most people either they don't notice it or they have no idea what it actually means. Here's what's actually happening. Google is running an experiment. It's testing your ads with thousands of different people, different searchers, different times of day, different devices, watching who clicks, who converts, who bounces, building a picture of exactly who your business is and who responds to your offer. And during those first 2 weeks, I want to be honest with you here, spending money with no conversions coming back is completely normal, especially on a brand new account. It's not failing, the machine is learning, and that is precisely when most advertisers turn it off. Now, come close. I want to tell you something. I've sat across from clients staring at the dashboard in week 2. Smart people, business owners who know their numbers, and every single one of them at this point wants to change something. New bid strategy, new keywords, new ad copy. Because doing something feels better than doing nothing. And guys, I get it, I've been there. But here's what's actually happening inside the account. While it looks dead, Google is figuring out your demographic. It's learning which searches lead to your best customers, which times of day convert better, which devices, which combinations of signals predict a conversion. That takes time, and it takes data. I like to think about it like taking up running. The first 2 weeks are rough, you're slow, you're tired, you're heavy. Nothing feels like it's improving. Most people quit right there. They're sore, they don't fancy it anymore. The people who don't, they get to week 6 and they knock 15-20% off of their 5-kilometer time. They didn't see it building, but it was building the entire time. It's the exact same thing here. Month 1 is the foundation. Month 2, the numbers start to hold, refinement kicks in, performance starts to tick. Month 3 is when you scale. But here's the part that kills most campaigns. Every time you make a change in the learning phase, you restart the experiment from 0. Google wipes everything it learned and starts again. The advertisers who break through are the ones who understand this. They're patient. They leave it alone. They let the experiment finish. When the badge clears, Google knows who your buyers are. When they search, what they search. And now it can go and consistently find more of them at scale. So here's your check. Open your account right now. Is the learning badge still showing? If it is, hands off. No changes. Trust the process. If it's already gone, that's sign 2. That's the machine telling you that it's ready. And by the way, if you're finding this useful, this is exactly what I do on this channel. Real Google Ads strategy, no fluff, no guru nonsense, just what actually works across $130 million in ad spend managed. If that sounds like your kind of thing, hit subscribe below. There's a lot more where this came from. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. So guys, sign 3. This is where your search terms kind of get a little weird, and that is Google doing something quite remarkable. When Google trusts your campaign, it stops playing it safe. In the early days, the searchers were triggering your ads for exactly what you would expect. You're an emergency plumber in New York. You're showing up for emergency plumber New York. Clean, predictable, familiar. But when the algorithm is really working, something different starts to happen. The searchers get specific, unexpectedly specific. You're still an emergency plumber, but now you're showing up burst pipe emergency plumber 46th Street or water coming through the ceiling, who do I call? That second one doesn't even look like a plumber search. But Google figured out that that person needs an emergency plumber before they did. And most people see those search terms and they panic. They think that it's incorrect. They think it's an audience mismatch. Their targeting is broken. Their keywords are too broad. And they start blocking everything that looks unfamiliar. That's the wrong move, and here's why. What Google is doing is looking for behavioral overlap. People who search in similar ways, who click on similar things, and who convert in similar patterns. And when it finds a new cluster of people who behave exactly like your best customers, it starts sending them to you, even if they arrive through a door that you didn't know existed. Think about water coming through the ceiling, who do I call? That person isn't just browsing, they're not comparing prices, they're standing in their kitchen with water coming through the ceiling, phone in hand, typing whatever comes into their head. Google connected the dots for you. That is your best customer. High intent, desperate, ready to hire whoever picks up the phone first. Before you block a single search term, check whether it converted. Don't block what you don't recognize. Google may well have just found your best customer before you even knew it existed. And once it finds that new cluster that behaved like your core audience, strong engagements, high conversion rates, the reach explodes. It's not broken, it's learning. And once it learns where you belong, the floodgates open. So guys, sign 4 is critical, and it's that one of your campaigns doesn't just succeed, it drags everything else up with it. I call that a leader campaign. And here's what it looks like in reality. You're running ads across multiple different campaigns. Maybe it's different services, maybe locations, maybe different offers. Most of them are ticking along, nothing spectacular. And then one of them does something different. It breaks through. Not by a small amount. Conversion rate doubles, cost per sale drops. The gap between this campaign and everything else in your account is so big that you can't ignore it. And then something even more interesting happens. The other campaigns start to move. Ones that you haven't touched, ones that have been flat for weeks, they start climbing. I had a plumbing company in New York. It had 2 locations. One was in Manhattan, the other in the Bronx. The Manhattan campaign started firing consistently. Good conversion rate, strong signals, good cost per sale. Where we wanted it to be and where we needed it to be. 2 weeks later, the Bronx campaign caught fire just like that, out of nowhere. And the lift in the Bronx, it didn't come solely from optimization. It came from one campaign leading the way. Here's what happened. Google wasn't looking at those 2 campaigns in isolation. When Manhattan started performing, Google looked at the entire account from head to toe and asked, what else does this advertiser have? It took everything it had learned about buyers in Manhattan, the searches, the times, the behavior patterns, and started applying those signals to the Bronx. The account lifted because one campaign led the way. Nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. And I'm going to say that again. Nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. That's what a leader campaign does. It feeds the whole account. Guys, sign 5 is that the number that always stops you doesn't anymore. Every Google Ads account has a ceiling. You've experienced it, I've experienced it. Maybe your cost per sale never drops below a certain point, no matter what you do. Maybe your leads cap at the same number every single month. You push, you optimize, and the number just doesn't move. But when Google Ads is about to break through, that ceiling starts to crack. One campaign edges past it, then another. Then you're consistently above where you have ever been before. And it keeps climbing. That's not luck. That's Google expanding your reach systematically because it found more clusters of people who want what you offer. And here's the beautiful part. Once you break through that first ceiling, the next one comes faster. And the one after that, faster still. Dave Portnoy, love him or hate him, said, it's really hard to make your first million, but once you've made it, making 5 million is much easier. I think that quote directly relates to what I'm telling you here. I'll tell you my own story. I run a holiday home company. First 3 months running Google Ads, $15,000 per month spent, performance slowly climbing, but nowhere near scaling. Most people would have pulled the budget right there. That same year, nearly $2 million in revenue. Some months we were spending $30,000 a month on ads because the return justified every single penny. That's what a ceiling breaking looks like. Slow, then all at once. But, and I'm going to say this again because this is what kills most accounts, do not take your foot off of the gas when this happens. So many advertisers hit their breakthrough and they relax. They reduce spend. They think they figured it out. And in the blink of an eye, they're back where they started. Momentum isn't random, it's earned, and it has to be maintained. Do not take your foot off of the gas when you are winning. So here's what you do when you spot these signals. First, don't change what's working. If the trend is upwards, leave it alone. Second, be patient. Google Ads rewards consistency and ongoing optimization, not impatience. Momentum dies the second that you stop feeding it. Third, track patterns, not individual days. You'll have good days and bad days. Stop obsessing over whether today was good or bad. Pull up your last 28 days and compare it to the previous 28 days. That's the only number that really matters. Fourth, let the learning phase finish. If the badge is showing, hands off the campaigns unless something drastic is happening. And fifth and finally, the most important one, you are not waiting for Google to give you permission. If you're seeing these signals, Google is already telling you it's working. The only question is whether you trust the process long enough to let it compound. Now guys, I want you to look inside your own accounts and tell me how many of these you're seeing. If you're seeing 1, you're building, 2 or 3, you're close, 4 or 5, you're already in great momentum. You just don't realize it yet. But guys, I want to be straight with you. These signals will only show up if your campaign is built correctly in the first place. A poorly structured account will never reach this point. It will just burn cash. And that's what I spend every single day fixing. The timeline is different for everybody, but if you treat Google Ads like a sport, study it, show up consistently, get the fundamentals right, you will get paid like an athlete. Drop in the comments how many of these signs you're seeing right now, and if you want to understand the exact setup that gives Google the data it needs to reach this point, that's exactly what's in the next video. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, you're gonna love this one right here. I'll catch you in the next one.